Hello friends, this is Jay Hendricks with Powerful Thought Online. Today, as a fellow student with you, I wanted to talk with you about the way of liberation. So this will be a more difficult video. Hopefully it makes sense. Take notes if you want. Watch it again if you need. And here we go. The way of liberation. This video is an attempt to build upon the method of esoteric service. These definitions and thoughts are in my own words and should only be taken as a hypothesis gathered from personal experience. So what is esoteric service? I would say it is the process of redeeming matter. What is matter? I would say matter is the infinitude of lives that make up the bodies of the ego. Matter is the infinitude of lives that make up the bodies of the ego, being the mental body made up of mental matter, the emotional body made up of emotional matter, and the physical body made up of physical matter. I like to think of it as a fractal of the one life or spirit, or an infinity of division that eternally produces individual lives that are atoms. I'll say that again. I like to think of it, matter, as a fractal of the one life or spirit, or an infinity of division that eternally produces individual lives that are atoms. So what is an atom? If you break down the word atom, it is at means expressing location or arrival in a particular place or position. And the one word, the universe, the perfect vibration at the center of all things. So, you could say, therefore an atom is expressing a location or arrival in a particular place or position of the one word or universe or perfect vibration at the center of all things. So it's a point of let's say. Okay. So you could say it is a point of reference for one total unnameable observer, or an indivisible duality, or an individual. So I would say an atom is an individual. Okay? You and I operate from one atom at the center of our heads. And we govern the kingdom of atoms that make up our mental, emotional, and physical bodies. So when I say we're redeeming matter, you could say we are the God of this universe, helping to further the evolution of all the individual atoms and lives that make up our egos. Okay? So hopefully you're still with me. When the energy of spirit, you could say it, the Father, and the energy of matter, or the Mother, collide, it forms a whirlpool of stillness. And this is an atom, or an individual, or a son of God, or daughter of God. Therefore, when you feel the vastness of your being in deep meditation, you are becoming aware of the universe that is your body, and that you are the God of that universe. From the perspective of metaphysics, the atom is a point of mass surrounded by a field of potential. And this is exactly what you and I are as well. A point of mass surrounded by a field of potential. If one can find the unnameable observer in deep meditation and recognize that this observer is a mediator that can relax vibration at very subtle levels, one could begin to serve and redeem the atoms or lives that make up his ego. This would mean that the unnameable observer could look out at the ocean of matter be aware of different potentials and vibrations, and be a channel for the soul to calm those vibrations with Om. So to practice esoteric service in everyday life, we would need to first practice the yoga of the mind daily, perhaps for a long period of time. Everyone's different, but patience is required on this path. And perhaps you never will in your life, but you can attempt. So, anyway, I'll read that again. To practice esoteric service in everyday life, we would need to first practice the yoga of the mind daily, perhaps for a long period of time, to realize the unnameable observer, which you are. And second, to contact the Om in deep meditation. And third, to realize our mediation or control of that Om. Then we could practice these three things simultaneously to produce, then we could practice these following three things simultaneously to process through the pain and dis-ease of the ego. So, in deep meditation, you find the unnameable observer that you are. It's unnameable, and it observes. And then to contact the Om in deep meditation. So that's when you arrive at that balance point between the pairs of opposites and realize you are the mediator, and then to control that Om. So these are very esoteric things that I can describe like this, and it won't exactly be as I'm describing, but once you've experienced it, you will realize, okay, I can see where Jay was coming from. I wouldn't describe it the same way, but, it's an attempt to stimulate the understanding, these words. Okay? So once we found that unnameable observer and contacted the Om and realized that we can mediate with this Om, we could practice these three things simultaneously to process through the pain and dis-ease of the ego. So these three things are dispassion, detachment, and discrimination. And not discrimination as it's used more often today, but discrimination as far as being able to discriminate between things and select. Okay, so dispassion, I would say, these are my own words, so they are incomplete definitions, but like I said, hopefully it stimulates your understanding. Dispassion is holding the attention of the observer that you are, so holding your attention and watching for the desire of the bodies to react to certain situations, yet not reacting. Maybe somebody in your presence starts cursing out somebody next to you, and that immediately causes your reaction to, or the processes that would be your reaction to, start going. Maybe you immediately try to defend that person. Maybe your anger bubbles up and you start wanting to firmly talk to the person to stop, bullying people or whatever. Whatever the process is that bubbles up, the reaction, instead of being identified with that reaction and going through with it, you are now observing that and not reacting. You're observing that process carry out and not reacting. So that would be dispassion. Detachment is perceiving the dis-ease Detachment is perceiving the dis-ease in your three bodies caused by the environment and realizing that it is not you. So not only are you not reacting, but you're seeing that process, those disturbances in your ego, the tension in the atoms that make up your bodies. You are seeing them and feeling them and perceiving them, so you still feel the pain, you still feel the dis-ease, but you are simultaneously, instantly realizing that that is not you. So you're detached from it. That doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. You still feel the pain, but it's as if you're watching somebody suffer. You're watching a nation suffer, a nation of atoms suffer, let's say. So you're detached from it. Then the next thing, discrimination, is seeing the good in the dis-ease and loving the dis-ease. So you're not reacting. You're seeing that this is not you. This reaction is not you. And you are seeing the good in that disturbance, dis-ease, and loving it, freeing it. Because all of these reactions we have are objections, they are tightness, that, if somebody punches you, then you're gonna, tighten up to defend against that. So on a more subtler level, if someone does something and it angers you, at that more subtle level, it's tightening up to protect you against that anger, let's say. So instead, you're not reacting, you are loving that tightness, and that your love and attention to it allows it to relax and free up, to liberate. So if you can practice dispassion, detachment, and discrimination simultaneously and synthesize it into one process, that will open up the way of liberation. So let me give some maybe two examples of this in everyday life. Okay, so you've been practicing meditation daily for who knows how long, but you can begin to do these things. But anyway, so you're practicing meditation daily, you're studying. Now you want to carry that into your daily life and attempt to meditate all the time, let's say, in waking consciousness. So, in my last video, if you haven't checked it out, go check that out. But the server operates from the point of inner satisfaction. If you can get in the habit of being satisfied internally all the time, realizing that you are indeed satisfied internally all the time, you can now see every dissatisfaction that your body and your bodies, your mental, emotional, and physical body is experiencing is not you. So now you can begin to ease that dis-ease. So let's say you're living your daily life, you're getting into the habit of feeling satisfied internally, and even you are becoming satisfied internally. Now every dissatisfaction that pops up is detached from you, and you're not you're not letting it pull you into action, which is reaction, and you are loving each little dis-ease that pops up and freeing it. If you can synthesize this into one process, now you're living your life. Any disturbance that pops up, someone cuts you off when you're driving, this whole process, the intuition, and it's an automated process that you practice. You process through that disturbance. So you still feel the anger and everything, but you're simultaneously releasing it and liberating it, and that redeems matter. And as you do this, you'll find your consciousness extends out further and further and further and further, and you become more connected to everything, more aware of everything around you. You begin to be aware of your thoughts, your emotions at very subtle levels, and you're able to begin to calm any kind of tightness in your emotions, any kind of tightness build up or anything in your thoughts. You're able to redirect energy and create better thoughts. And as you practice this throughout your entire life, this process becomes automated. And this is how one transcends pain and suffering. They essentially become instantly processing through all pain and suffering. Hopefully this video was understandable. I'm sure some disagree with me or understand things that I don't. So please comment. If I get anything wrong, then in the future I will correct it. But hopefully this is some good information for you. So please like and subscribe. Comment in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you know, what you've experienced. It always helps others. It is service. And as we seek to open up the way of liberation, the world around us begins to change, and we begin to have an effect on others. Anyway, that's all for today. Please like and subscribe. I'm Jay Hendricks. This is Powerful Thought Online. Have a good day. Bye.